Good afternoon. This is Wesley Keith of the Mullings family, trustee of the Wesley Keith Mullings Trust. Here to discuss really quick about the Executor app, what we are doing, and how the app is designed to function for those who choose not to read about it on the campaign. Um, Basically, what we're going to go over is just the graphic user interface and some of the features that will happen. We're not going to get into the back end function of the app, not in this video. Um, Everything that we are discussing here is proposed. Um, the features are not final. Even the look is not final. Um, we will be trying to introduce new features as we think of them, and such as when the app is not activated, um, it tries to educate the user in law and how law is set up, how it's structured, um, and some of how it functions. So going directly into the user interface, we have our initial countdown screen, and we have an indicator at the top left. We have what your current location is. Once the app has been activated, it uses your GPS location in order to populate this. And then you have two icons at the bottom to go to the library and to go to your specific incidents that have been recorded already. You have your countdown timer at the top here, and it's using the 20-minute standard of the Supreme Court of the United States that has determined 20 minutes is sufficient enough time for law enforcement to determine who you are and what they want to do with you. And of course, there is a minute and hands animation that allows you to see that progress. At the bottom here, you have the ability to show your identification so that you don't have to worry about anyone mistaking you're reaching for a wallet as something else, or you're going into a glove box or something that they might try and claim is any kind of, oh, I was in fear for my life type of situation. That way you can show your valid identification, and especially being that IDs nowadays are becoming digitized, you're able to show them your actual ID as it is recorded in whatever government offices have recorded that ID. So we go to, after the timer goes down to 0, it automatically switches to this screen, the penalty or timer screen. And there are some things that we try to keep consistent. The indicator, your location, the two buttons at the bottom for the library, and each incident. But what is different here is that we have a count up timer now. I've tried to utilize color coding in order to identify one screen versus another. Again, this is not final, this is just an idea. And what we're showing is hours and minutes rather than minutes and seconds for the 20-minute countdown. This is now counting up, and each minute is charged for those of us who are state state nationals, or private persons or natural persons. There's a case that validates, the supported by federal law of what these persons being detained will be charged, what rate they'll be charged. And the current standard is, according to this case, Trezevant versus City of Tampa, $1,250 per minute, which means about 75,000 an hour, and you can imagine where that goes. And also, you also have a deactivation button in the center. Just like with the countdown timer, you have the deactivation where you can start going through those processes in order to deactivate the timer and stop the incident. When you go to the incidents button at the bottom right where it was blue, now the indicator has changed at the top and still shows your location, but now you're able to see that the whatever the count up timer is showing, you're able to see what the current value of the incident is valued at this point. If it has not gone to the count up timer, this will not show. So if it's not shown, then there's nothing really to see for this. But the remainder of the screen still applies, where you have a manual scroll available for all of the recorded incidents you have on the account. And then you have page up and page down scroll in case you have, you grow a number of incidents, no matter what it is. When you hit one of these incidents, you go into a detail page where you're able to see all of these particulars about each individual incident. Still showing the case, and I didn't say anything about this just or in the previous screens, but if you decide to press on this amount, it will show you the actual Trezevant versus City of Tampa case and its findings in full. So you would be able to explain or discuss what's going on or how this actually applies to the person that is detaining you, so that they understand for themselves the liability that is a part of being, detaining you. Also, this is a nice little feature where there are certain agencies that you would be able to have preset in your account according to your political affiliation and position, who needs to be notified of your incident. Now, if you're a U.S. citizen, this is going to be a little different. But to be able to reach out to other agencies will happen all the same. So, according to your account, it will populate with what agencies can be notified and will be notified depending on what's going on when you're detained. And then when the incident has completed, and typically when you're able to get into this particular screen, the incident has been completed, and it shows you a value of that download, so that you can pay that amount and download your incident, or to be able to transmit your incident for someone else, in case you feel the need to hire an attorney. I'm not going to comment on that. And that way you'll be able to have a full accounting of the cost of the incident. So you are aware of anything that comes about with your particular incident. I was actually thinking that third parties, other than yourself, let's say if it's the opposing counsel, or if it's the state, or if it's whoever is trying to prosecute for whatever reason, they would be able to basically subsidize your own download by paying for the download in total. Um, and that way you would be able to maintain a free download for yourself for your own account, and they simply pay for your download in order to rebut anything that you're trying to assert. It's just a thought. If we go to the library button, the bottom left, it was gray before. Now we have switched over to that screen. Um, of course, the indicators have changed, uh, but we have a search bar where a keyboard would show up and you would be able to type in whatever it is you're trying to search for. And you're able to choose, after you've chosen the terms, you're able to choose what type of law you want to look up. These particular 6 sections of law are pretty much going to be most likely the standard. Civil, definitely. Criminal, definitely. Family, definitely. Traffic, definitely. Probate, yes. Tort, it's going to be helpful to definitely have tort. Uh, it's looking like tort will stay, and we'll just continue on with these particular functions. If there are other areas of law that are necessary, it'll have to be reviewed, and we'll have to see about how to implement it in the graphic user interface. And this little button at the bottom, which is hierarchy, we're going to show that in a few moments. So when we get to our search results, first we've put in the search terms, we've chosen what type of law, and then we go into this particular screen where we're able to see, according to the terms that are being searched, the legal authorities, the laws, the rules, and the statutes, and if there's any case law that is relevant to the search terms. You're able to search by statute specifically, by case specifically, by rule, in order to drill down and find exactly what you need. Or if you have an idea of what it is you want, say if it's a phrase, you'll be able to search it up that way. Also, well, something that is going to be helpful as far as organization is to color code the types of hits that you are able to see on this particular screen. Again, this is not finalized, it's just an idea. And when you finally get the total number of these hits, you're able to touch on each one of these areas in order to explore all of the results. In this screen, this is your hierarchy screen, which we saw at the bottom of the library list. You're able to search different actors. So you're able to search them by name or by title. So let's say if you wanted to get the desk sergeant of whoever the officer is who stopped you, or if you want to get the county clerk, or maybe not the county clerk, but possibly the clerk of the particular court that you are working with. You're able to search that by their title or by their name. And it will show that actor's peers, superiors, and their subordinates, if there happen to be, any in that particular fashion. This was just very, very basic graphic. It's not going to look like this, but you will be able to scroll through, peers and superiors and subordinates in a very easy to navigate fashion, or we'll try and make it as easy to navigate as possible. And then this is just an idea to touch on the actors who we're looking up. When it shows or populates who the actor is, you're able to touch onto that person's name or their picture or whatever the identifier would be. And in case there's missing information on this actor, you'll be able to make a FOIA request. directly online, and it should get to the appropriate agency as a result. Again, this is an idea. It's going to take some, I imagine, some lobbying in order to get some of this to an automated fashion. But I believe that those who would support this app, are likewise going to be charged up enough to follow through with that type of action, so that we can get this function moving as well. So this is our deactivate screen, as if it were from the countdown. For example, the 20-minute countdown. If you decide to deactivate, you've hit the inquiry button, and you get to this. This is not a finalized screen at all. Really, we're just trying to show the different types of technologies and methods to deactivate the app. It will not be a singular one of these. It's going to be layered. The layers will be random. Some of these methods that are being presented here, they're going to be timed. Some of them may be mandatory. It's possible to have some of the methods skipped for an alternate. And just in case you can't get it right for whatever reason, there's a fail-safe just in case you have the account locked out, as there will be a lockout in case you get it wrong beyond a certain number of tries. This is what the deactivate screen, of course, looks from the timer. Basically, whatever the screen is going to fade that screen just so that you can go through all of the deactivation methods and finally fully deactivate the app. Now, originally we had designed this for interactions with law enforcement and courts, but these are not the only practical applications for Executor. So what we are looking at as possibilities is dealing with child abductions, where children, of course, we know at a certain age they have their own phones. They have their own devices, and the combination of that device plus the peripheral that we have on the campaign may show itself worth being used to address these abductions. Also dealing with contracting, where a person would need to show proof of particular things being expressed or shared or told one party to another as a part of their agreement, whether written or not. It will be able to show as evidence, or anything that you're dealing with that you can provide a witness for others, or it will function as a possible affidavit as your official witness of what happened. 2 or 3 persons giving their own witness to a singular event is going to be seen as absolutely true by the courts. And this is something that will help anyone's particular situation, so that the truth can be absolutely shared without any color or prejudice. So finally, with everything that we have shared for this presentation, the fact is that I absolutely need your support. The trust needs your support so that we can generate and make this app a reality. We are looking at making a test graphic user interface. It won't be functional to the capacity where people will or agencies will react, but as far as to show the flow of the app and what it can actually do, these things are going to be something that to keep our supporters encouraged along the path of us making this app a real live thing. We already have freelancers and programmers on standby that will help us to get everything to where it needs to be, as far as its functionality, as far as its interactions, as far as making the app absolutely live, no questions. And this is going to be by invite only. We're not going to promote or market or share this, at least in these beta phases. Executor is not going to go into any of the app stores. It's going to be strictly by invite. And we're going to also try to implement, as we make videos like this is our first. As we try and make future videos, we'll be talking about some future features that as we come about or as they have been dreamt up. Hopefully our supporter base will be able to provide us good feedback so that we can determine which features we should pursue and which ones we should abandon. A good example is location tracking. As we saw in the main pages of the app, location was one of the things that was pretty consistent with most of these pages. In case you are being moved, to be able to show that movement not just in the face of the app, but also in the incidents, or showing the incidents where it's showing or able to show if you have moved from one point to another as the incident has come about. It's one idea. And also sending official FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests within Executor is something that I believe can be beneficial, so that we can cut down on fulfillment times for those requests. I imagine some people may say, or try and propose that all this is going to do is going to overload the offices that actually fulfill this. Yeah, anything shiny is going to be played with often, no doubt. But once the shiny has simmered down and people are able to function in a normal regard when it comes to this, we're not going to see that as a persistent problem. I don't expect. And going back to the need for support, we really need to get everyone to fully support, and I mean not just spread the word, but to be able to invest, because the faster you back this campaign, the faster you'll get this product finalized and finished and in your hands to use. We also understand, the trust understands that some of these functions will need further lobbying. This is not just where we simply release the app and everything is just go time. Some of these functions are going to need further interactions or further agreement with some of the offices that are going to be touched by this. It's just necessary. So that requires some lobbying by you, the supporter. So this is what I'm doing. I'm contacting some of my local officials and office holders to get their feedback on what they think of this and how this is going to work. What will it mean for some of the officials that will be affected by this, in particular, judges and law enforcement, at least to begin with, and what it will mean for these people, and also asking for you, the supporter, to share this app with share the campaign with your family, your friends, your associates, people that are within your influence. I currently have this campaign going on Indiegogo. I'm trying to get it on Kickstarter as well, um, in order to not double up on the amounts raised, but really to double up on the reach of people. Some people are particular to one crowdfunding campaign versus another. I'm just trying to accommodate this so that it's available to all. And the purpose of the app in total is that everyone, absolutely everyone, deserves justice to work for them, not just those who are educated or well connected. This is the absolute truth, and as long as we're able to uh, operate where we are held accountable. First of all, the Bible actually says, how are you able to complain about the uh, complain about um, the thread in your neighbor's eye, and you have a plank in your own. So we have to be judges of ourselves first. So this is what the goal of the app is. I really appreciate you taking the time to um, take it to really review what we're doing here. Hopefully, we'll be able to generate this, get to our next step, and get that walkthrough GUI in your hands very, very soon. I look forward to producing this for you. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.